All right, so again, today we're going to be writing equations in what's called standard form and graphing using zeros. Writing equations in standard form and graphing using zeros. So standard form of a line is ax plus by is equal to c, where a, b, and c are real numbers. And both a and b are not zero. All right, so in your practice today, the directions are going to say write an equation of each line in standard form with integer coefficients. And for simplicity, we're going to say no fractions or decimals. So an example might be you get an equation. The equation that they give you looks like y equals negative 5x minus 6. We want it to look like ax plus by is equal to c, because that's standard form. So in standard form, you can see that the number or whatever's in front of the x is all the way on the left, plus or minus whatever's in front of the b, and it's equal to c, which is your constant. So we have to make this equation look like this form. So to start, we're going to add 5x to each side. And when we do that, we get 5x plus y is equal to, this cancels, negative 6. And you're done, okay? this equation, 5x plus y is equal to -6, is in standard form. Your a is the 5. Your b is what's in front of the y, which is a 1, but it doesn't get written. And your c is the -6. Simple enough? Alrighty. So then let's take something like y is equal to 3/4 x minus 5. Now, when you get a problem like this and you need integer coefficients means your a, your b, and your c, that they're not fractions or decimals. So in this case, you can see that what's in front of the x, the a, is a fraction. So when you've got a fraction in this initial equation, you multiply everything in the fraction by the denominator. So we multiply everything on the right-hand side by 4, and we multiply the left side by 4. And when we do that, we get 4y is equal to 3/4 x times 4. The 4's cancel out. That's why we chose to multiply by 4. And we're left with 3x. And -5 times 4 is -20. So now, the next step is to subtract 3x from each side. On the left-hand side, we get -3x plus 4y is equal to -20. And now we're in standard form. Our a is -3, our b is 4, our c is -20. Those are called coefficients. The -3 and the 4, those are coefficients. The -20 is called a constant. And we don't have fraction or decimal coefficients. If you get an equation that looks like y is equal to, let's say y is equal to 2.4x plus 9.7. All right, so previous problem, we had a fraction that we had to get rid of. We did it by multiplying both sides of the equation by the denominator. When we've got decimals, we've got one decimal place that we have to get rid of. That's a tenths position. Agreed? When we need to get rid of a number in the tenths position, we multiply everything in the equation by 10. Okay? So if we take the left side of the equation, multiply it by 10, and the whole right side of the equation times 10. On the left-hand side, we get 10y is equal to 2.4x times 10 is 24x. And 9.7 times 10 is 97. So now, subtract 24x from each side. And we get -24x plus 10y is equal to 97. You automatically times it by 10 when the most digits to the right of the decimal are 1. If for some reason, let's say you had y equals 2.24x plus 3.45. Now what would you multiply everything by? Now you would multiply everything by 100. Because you have digits in the hundredths place. If you only have digits in the tenths place, you multiply by 10. If you have digits in the hundredths place, then you multiply by 100. You're just trying to move the decimal to the right as far as you can. So if you have to move the decimal to the right 2 places, you have to multiply by 100. All right? Anybody need to see another example of the fraction or the decimal type problems? All right, the second type of problem you're going to see. The directions are going to be to find the intercepts and graph each line. Find the intercepts and graph each line. You will be given equations in standard form. So let's take an equation like 3x plus 5y is equal to 15. If 3x plus 5y is equal to 15 and we need to find the intercepts and graph each line, we're going to write 2 equations. We're going to write one equation and we're going to eliminate the 5y. So we're going to say 3x is equal to 15. We're going to write another equation and eliminate the x. So 5y is equal to 15. What we're doing in each of these equations, in this first equation, the 3x equals 15, we're making the y equal to 0. Because 5 times 0 would be 0, and you'd be left with 3x equals 15. When we write the 5y equals 15, we're making the x equal to 0. All right, so we're finding intercepts, which are also known as zeros. We're finding the zeros of the equation. So if we go to this first equation, divide both sides by 3, we get an x that's equal to 5. In this second equation, if we divide both sides by 5, we get a y that's equal to 3. Now, since we wrote this the way we did, x is equal to 5 when y is equal to 0. And y is equal to 3 when x equals 0. So the second part of this question was to graph. So just sketch a coordinate plane. We've got an x that's equal to 5, so we go to 5 on the x-axis and we plot a point. We have a y that's equal to 3, so we go to 3 on the y-axis and we plot a point. And then we connect the points. So that line is the graph of 3x plus 5y equals 15. All right, let's do one more of these. We're going to find the intercepts and graph. And now our equation is going to be 2x minus 4y is equal to 8. 2x minus 4y is equal to 8. So let's try it right here. 2x minus 4y equals 8. Our two equations, one of them would be 2x is equal to 8. The other equation would be negative 4y is equal to 8. Solve both equations. We get an x that's equal to 4. And a y that's equal to negative 2. So if we draw a coordinate plane, and plot those 2 points, and then connect the points with a line. And I'll do that as soon as my computer allows me to. Go ahead and do that if you would. Draw your XY axis. Plot those 2 values. And then connect them with a line. So I'm here and here. I got an x that's equal to 4, so I go to 4 on the x-axis and I plot a point. I go to negative 2 on the y-axis and plot a point. And then I just put a line through those 2 points. And that line is the graph of 2x minus 4y is equal to 8. All right, any questions or anybody need to see another example? Okay, then your practice for today is going to be on page 86, problems 22 through 29.